This is Secretly Awesome, sponsored by Hiscox Insurance. I'm Roxy Te, an entrepreneur and furniture designer. I find inspiration for my designs in everyday life and love including fun, unexpected elements. And that's what this show is all about. We find and celebrate companies, products, and experiences that are secretly awesome. On this episode of Secretly Awesome, we're celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month by highlighting Asian American-owned small businesses across the country. We'll try on a sari at one of the largest South Asian clothing stores in the U.S.
People love it. There's always the oohs and the ahs because there's so much glitter and there's so much bedazzling and the jewelry's so beautiful.
And see how this Viet-Cajun restaurant is putting a tasty blend of cultures on a plate.
But after they eat the Viet-Cajun crawfish, they cannot resist by another dish and then another dish.
This is Secretly Awesome, sponsored by Hiscox Insurance. Down in Texas, crawfish season is always serious business. But there's a spicy new craze spreading from Houston's Asiatown to cities across the country. Viet-Cajun crawfish.
Play with food is never easy, but the only thing to defeat it is passion.
It's really, really good. Good combination, good flow together. They really found a unique way to blend it all together.
I normally follow my grandmother and we go to the market together for her to do like cooking. I just stuck with her the whole time. And then when she cooked, I like to eat the first taste. When I grow up, I developed the taste. It's just the unique taste that she put in so many variety dishes that she made. It's unbelievable. I always searching for that taste. I have to say, I'm not a school training chef. I am home training. That's very much, you say, self-taught. Back in 2008, when we have a first family business together, I still run in the marketing department, Asian director for one of the casinos in Las Vegas. So I cannot be on both ways, one in Houston, one in a different state to run a business. So I have to choose. At the end, I choose to be with the family business. And then I become very dedicated in the kitchen. So I non-stop working day and night. And then, boom, suddenly the opportunity come back to become a chef to continue to rescue my own business. It's go through so much of trial and error. I have to be the one in that position. The concept of crawfish noodle is because if you go around in Houston, none of those ever have any kind of the crawfish and then combined with the Vietnamese food. So if you want to go to the Cajun crawfish, you have to go to Louisiana Cajun crawfish, and then you go to another place to eat pho. And that's why we come up with a concept and say, why don't we just marry the two cultures together and make it happen.
I can taste the traditional like Vietnamese style, and then the crawfish brings in that Cajun feel and the sauces, and it's so good.
So it takes us about almost a year to educate our clientele that the Viet-Cajun exists in the market. Because the way we marinate the crawfish, the way we put them in together with the other Vietnamese seasoning and the French butter, the garlic, everything, to make it as the Viet-Cajun crawfish. People only focus to eat the Viet-Cajun, but after they eat the Viet-Cajun crawfish, they cannot resist by another dish and then another dish. Like stir-fried calamari, and the best of all is also salt and pepper crab. We call it a salt and pepper crab, but technically it's totally different with the salt and pepper that you see in the market. The way it tastes and the unique of it is totally different.
The food is really good. It was very well seasoned. I'll definitely come back again.
I would say I'm very proud and very fortunate that I have the clientele from all over the world, all nationality, and enjoy the food. And that's what the purpose of the crawfish noodle. We want to share the best. We want to share whatever we have in the family, come to the community. That's what we want. That's our focus.
Inspired by her childhood in the Philippines, Melody Lorenzo infuses her ridiculously Instagrammable desserts with the flavors of home.
Our products are mainly inspired by Filipino flavors. I grew up in the Philippines, born and raised. When I immigrated here in the US, I always wanted to be a pastry chef and incorporate the flavors, the desserts that I grew up with in the Philippines by putting it into desserts that are familiar, like pies, cakes. There's something in me that really wanted to pursue in baking because that's what I love to do. One of our best-selling pies is our calamansi pie, which is a calamansi custard baked in graham cracker crust. So it's our Filipino take on the key lime pie. And when you just cut it, it just melts in your mouth. We also have ube pie. It's like this purple color, has hints of vanilla, coconut, and it's just like delicious. The pies I actually launched at community events. Of course, at that time, I was working full-time with the state. Worked there for 14 years. And I always tell my family that I will start my business when I retire. And when my son told me, why would you wait when you're older? So 2017, that was my wake-up call. I quit my full-time job to start Sweet Condesa. When I first started, it was just me, one-woman operation. And then with the demand growing, it's quite challenging to meet the demand. Finally, during the pandemic, I was able to bring in a pastry assistant. All our products are 100% handmade, handcrafted. Our pie crusts are hand molded, and we make everything fresh. At this point, during a pandemic, it's just like I was just blown away that, wow, it's doing good. And I'm just so thankful. If you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. Simple comments like, OMG, wow. You know, those are the rewarding comments that I get. That makes me very happy.
Coming up next, we're taking a trip to one of the largest South Asian clothing stores in the US, and later,
Dance is ultimate art that expresses the inside of a human being through the body.
as one of the biggest South Asian clothing stores in the US, Roop Sari's Palace is the place to find the perfect sari. Let's go check it out.
People love it. There's always the oohs and the ahs because there's so much glitter and there's so much bedazzling and the jewelry's so beautiful. So yeah, people love it. A sari, basically, in the most simplest terms, it's a 6-yard piece of fabric. It's draped around the body, and it has a blouse and a petticoat underneath, and it's most traditionally worn by South Asian women. Welcome to Roop Sari Palace in Houston, Texas. We are a South Asian clothing store. We have everything from men's wear, women's wear, children, and jewelry. And we are one of the largest South Asian clothing stores in the US. So the sari has actually been around for centuries and centuries. It's not actually that something new. It's been around for a very long time. And it's very deep rooted into the South Asian culture. So there's a lot of styles. It depends on what you're wearing a sari for. You can go very fancy if you have like a wedding. You can go very trendy if you're going to a party. So there are different styles, different fabrics. It's amazing that there is so much that can be done with this 6-yard piece of fabric. It's a work of art. I feel like you have to really learn. You have to like really practice on it. I feel like everybody's mom knows how to put on a sari, or everyone's grandma knows how to put on a sari. And if not, there's always the pre-pleated option. You know, the tailors in our store will pre-pleat it for you, and then it's just putting on a hook and you're ready to go. When you're done picking out your outfit, you can go straight to the jewelry section and you can have an array of options to choose for jewelry. I mean, we have like so many different beautiful kinds, so many different metals and bangles, and you name it, we have everything. I have seen brides like myself included, 40, 50-pound outfits. The more glitter, the heavier, the better. And I think for bridal, that's what you want. You want a heavy outfit. But there's very simple outfits too. Like when you go to a party, people want to wear very, very simple but sophisticated outfit. We feel like our customers are our family, really. Now we've expanded to online and Instagram. So now our customers who are not able to shop in the store can still get the same quality pieces, the same prices, and they can get it online because we have wonderful prices, we really do. The sari is very important to the culture because, like we said, it's been dated back so many centuries. It's probably one of the first South Asian pieces of clothing that women used to wear. So it's really nice to see people come in here, and when they find something that they really love, their smiles just, their face lights up and their smiles are so big, and then they get to go home with something that's like so amazing for them.
Behind every dance performed at Houston's Dance of Asian America Academy, there's a story that expresses the culture, history, and beauty of traditional Asian and Chinese dance.
I think dance is a language.
Dance is ultimate art that expresses the inside of a human being through the body.
It is such an impossible thing to perfect.
I love a challenge, and it's a great way for me to improve myself in almost like every part of my life.
Behind every dance, there's a story that we have to think about.
Most of our students are from Asian backgrounds, and so getting to learn all these different Asian dance styles helps them to kind of learn what their culture is like from their family's history.
DAA Dance Academy is actually the professional dance school for Dance of Asian American Company. We train the kids in professional ballet, modern jazz, and of course Asian and Chinese dance. Through their performances, these young dancers are actually the ambassadors for the Chinese culture and the art of dance.
Doing these dances allows us to feel what the other people around the world feel, and we can relate to them.
Through this, I've learned more about myself as a person and kind of been able to connect to my culture and my roots. And it's also just a great way to explore art, because living in Houston, it's such a diverse community, and it's great to be able to be a part of that and add my kind of own personality and my own culture into it as well.
My mom, she's a professional dancer from China. I actually came here when I was really young, 7 years old. I really didn't know much about my heritage. A lot of the things that I do know, I actually learned through dance. I grew up in the studio pretty much, and over the years it's just really become a passion to see my students thrive and succeed.
I came here when I was 3 or 4, and it kind of just became a part of my life, and I grew up here.
If I didn't come here, I would still not know what Chinese dance was, and I wouldn't know all the different stories behind each dance.
I think my passion really comes from, what Dance of Asian America does for the community. DA Academy and Dance of Asian America differs from a lot of other schools in that we actually provide a lot of performance opportunities. We bring so much wonderful free performances out into the community.
I was already a fan of the company before I even started working here.
It's just great because it feels like a family here.
We sustain traditions. We educate our community through cross-cultural education. And we also foster young generations of artists, and we build cultural ties.
We've developed into this kind of organization that has a very strong message and a very important message.
And what they do for Houston and the Asian community in Houston is just such an awesome thing.
We all love our pets, but it can be a challenge to find dog food and treats that are actually good for them. Coming up, we meet a dog mom on a mission to change that.
When I adopted Kono, my entire life changed. Not just my priorities, but what I wanted to do with my life, what I wanted to do with my time.
Welcome back to Secretly Awesome. Michelle Chu is out to help other pet parents provide healthy and nutritious food for their pups. And her small business, Kono's Kitchen, wants to do just that.
Kono's Kitchen is a brand of freeze-dried raw dog treats. About a year and a half ago, I started looking into the raw diet for Kono, and it was super overwhelming, just the thought of the cost and the time it took to prepare it. But then I stumbled on freeze-dried raw treats. And so that was a good way for me to add some nutrition to his diet. So I wanted to sort of bring that to the general public and bring that to people who were, like me, also interested in feeding their dogs a raw diet. I definitely don't know everything there is about raw, but it's something that I'm continuing to learn about. When I adopted Kono, my entire life changed. Not just my priorities, but what I wanted to do with my life, what I wanted to do with my time, giving back to rescues, giving back to dogs. And I also wanted to support women-owned businesses and specifically women of color-owned businesses. I launched with the mission to donate 10% of all treat sale profits to a featured rescue pup each month and their medical costs. For me, what's been really rewarding has been seeing the community grow. Online engagement and building the community really through our Instagram has been really key, but my focus really is just on getting back out to the community. And I see this as a platform that I want to grow so that as I grow this platform, the impact that the message we put out and the impact of who we support just grows exponentially with it.
Artist Windy Chien doesn't just love knots. She learned how to make a new knot every day for a year. You got to see how she turned her passion for learning into a successful business.
So there are around 4,000 documented knots in the world, although mathematicians and scientists say that there's theoretically an infinite number possible. But most of those thousands of knots that exist were invented by sailors.
Bet you've seen them all, haven't you, baby? Just about.
And so for me, what I feel I have to offer the world is to take these functional objects from history and bring the aesthetics to them. In the making of it, I show you how beautiful it is, and you notice the journey of the line. I'm Windy Chien, and I'm an artist, and I tie knots for a living. I've lived in San Francisco for 30 years, and I'm an artist, but I actually am on my third life. I owned and worked at an independent record store here in the Mission in San Francisco for 14 years, and then I spent almost a decade at Apple working at iTunes. About 5 years ago, I quit my corporate job because I wanted to focus on my own creativity, and here I am doing it full time. So the first thing I did when I quit my corporate job was I decided to go on an explorative journey because I knew that I wanted to make things with my hands, but I had no idea what the form was gonna be, so I took classes, and one of the classes I took was a refresher macrame class because my mom had taught me in the 70s when I was a kid, and within 5 minutes of the class I was like, oh, I remember, I love this. So I loved the process so much and how it felt while I was doing it that I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. I got more interested in making one-off beautiful wall hangings and room-sized installations and knots that were each unique. So I decided to move from products to making art. And that was a big leap because I was still kind of thinking, no one can make a living as an artist. I didn't feel like I had earned it. I think that I have a pretty audacious attitude when it comes to life, and part of that comes from feeling like an outsider my whole life. You know, I'm Chinese, brought up in the US, and in the military too, so I've always felt like a little bit of an outsider. The cool thing I think about being an outsider is that you are not hemmed in by other people's expectations of you, so you get to define yourself. So this is the original Year of Knots. This is the project that I undertook to self-educate myself and to become fluent in the language of knots. At the end of the year, when I finished it and looked at it and realized it was a single work of art, that was when I really knew, oh, I'm an artist. I wrote the book for other women like me, and men, people like me who are itching to do something creative with their lives but aren't quite sure what that might look like. It's gotten to the point now where clients, interior designers, private collectors, architects will come to me and say, hey, we're in the planning stages for this space and we'd love to bring an element of what you do into it. Let's plan it together. If I'm making work that I'm happy with and that it gives me a sense of awe, then I've succeeded.
When we get back, I'll share my own secretly awesome small business story. My experience in hosting the show It's been so inspirational to me. I love seeing the grit, the creativity, the passion. Small business owners are among the most passionate people because you really have to be doing something you love to overcome what small businesses have to overcome. You have to love it more than you love money. Come on, follow me. I am the founder and creator of a company called Society Social. We design and create colorful custom furniture. It's fun, it's spirited, we don't take ourselves too seriously. My parents started manufacturing furniture in the early 80s. They had a dream and started manufacturing in the Philippines. And after about 10 years of growing their business in the Philippines, moved our little family over to North Carolina, which has been known to be the furniture capital of the world. They didn't have huge funding, so we lived in the furniture factory. It was something that I was around all the time. Growing up as a minority, as an Asian American in a small rural town, I have experienced racism and every microaggression you could probably think of. I could take that as something that was destructive and go down that path, or rise up and say, okay, fine, you don't want to work with me, I will be back. I will have my pretty woman moment.
Big mistake, big, huge.
It definitely influences who I am as a business owner. I am very aware that I have to try twice as hard to be taken seriously. So to be able to have a business that is women-owned, minority-owned, women-led makes me so, so proud. My advice to entrepreneurs just starting out, and I feel like 2020 really served this lesson to me, is that you can't always outperform a bad situation. I think that you can persevere through one, but there was nothing that prepared anybody for what COVID-19 did to the world and to business owners. We almost didn't make it. We opened our flagship in November 2019, and then 4 months later, we had to shut it down. So it's really important to take each challenge and to stay brave. Thank you for joining me to celebrate Asian American entrepreneurship today. And don't forget to follow @Localish for more secretly awesome. Sponsored by Hiscox Insurance.